Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Christine from the Herbal Extract Company. She's their researcher there. And welcome again to Mentoring with Geraldine and the Bite Side podcast. Now, as usual, our podcast or this podcast and the discussion on here are for herbalists and naturopaths. And it's great if you're a member of the general community and you found us, but please remember it's really important that you go and see a naturopath or a herbalist if you do have problems, because although we're talking about all the herbs singularly, as herbalists, we mix them all together. Now, today we've got a herb that every herbalist uses, and we all love it. It's used a lot in practice, and of course, you see it in the garden all the time, and that's dandelion. So, Christine, tell us a bit about the dandelion.
Yes, this is a fantastic herb because, like you said, everyone knows it, and it's not often these days that we actually get to see our plants, unfortunately, with our brown bottle herbalism. But, you know, as you said, like you can walk 1 metre out your front door and there'll be a dandelion. Yep. And I went on a foraging tour the other day, actually, and he was really interesting. Diego Bonetto is his name, and he was saying, like with food security that has been challenged over coronavirus pandemic, people need to start learning again about what's at their front doorstep, what's available, because this is so nutritious.
Yeah.
And it's a powerhouse of nutrients, and you only need to step 1 metre out your front door and it's right there for you.
Yeah.
Pick. So, it's a very humble plant, but it's actually very powerful. And obviously children know them for their making fairy wishes. We like to say, because, you know, the bright yellow flower, the little sun that turns into the little moon.
Yeah.
And do the wishes. So they're very common and cheerful and well known. And, you know, the bane of anyone who loves their lawn, bane of their existence. People are always trying to get rid of them in their lawn, when really we should actually be embracing them.
100% embrace the dandelion. I mean, it's been around a really long time. You can eat it. You can put it in a pie. You can eat it in your salad. You can, as long, obviously, as long as it's come out of your own garden and you know where it's from. I wouldn't be getting them from the roadside. But the thing about it, I mean, like even the sap that comes out of the stalk, pop that on warts. It'll get rid of your wart. There's so many reasons for using the dandelion and the dandelion leaf. It's just an incredible herb.
Yes, and we're talking about the leaf today. Obviously, you can use the whole plant, but we're going to talk about the leaf today. The root has different actions. And as you said, you can eat them, so it's a great spring tonic. The leaf and the flower, they pop out in the springtime. And but we make it into a liquid extract, so we're not sort of eating it raw from like fresh plant, but we dry. This is our raw material, so you can see it's dried and chopped. You can't really see. So as I mentioned in my highlight recently, you know, if you want to get into the naming and of the herbs is really interesting sometimes. So dandelion is from the French Dandelion, which means lion's tooth. And if you look at the leaves, they do look like the fangs of a lion. And then the French word for dandelion is that's your French word that you know?
It's the only French word I know. My husband speaks French, and I came home from college many, many moons ago, and it's like, oh, we just learned about dandelion, and we haven't got any in South Australia. I never see them in South Australia. It's so dry here, they don't tend to grow. Oh, wow. And I was like, oh, I haven't seen one in ages. And he said, you know what that is in French, don't you? And I was like, nah, you know what? And he said, it's pissenlit. Yes. Piss in the bed. So you're gonna remember, like I remember completely. I was like, dandelion leaf is one herb I will never ever forget. How good it is.
That's great, because it gives you a clue as to what it's good for, because it's a diuretic.
Yeah.
Sort of main action. That's what it's known for. So wet the bed, being the French pissenlit, meaning wet the bed, is because it's well known for the diuretic properties. But you won't wet the bed if you take it.
No.
But it will address, edema. urinary stagnation, gout, high blood pressure.
Yeah.
And we've had human trials that confirm this as well. So, and I have a little demonstration. Actually, so that's what it looks like once it's turned into an extract. And let's put some water with it. You can sort of see. I mean, it's just rich in nutrients.
Yeah.
There. So, I mean, they're very bitter.
Yeah.
The leaves, more than, lettuce you buy from the shop, but when you start eating these weeds from the garden, they're full of nutrients. And we talked about the root. It goes really deep and it's very difficult to get out. So it's sucking up all these nutrients. And so hence why it's a good spring tonic, the leaves. And like the roots, they contain inulin, which also has a beneficial effect on the gut flora, so good for digestion.
It's a great probiotic, that inulin. So, I mean, it's really worth it if you have got it growing in your own garden, so you know about pesticides and things. And you don't need a lot of it. That's the thing, if you have got, you've got your lettuce from the supermarket or wherever, and you try it and you think, oh, really boring. You can add these things to it. I mean, I eat nettles, I eat the dandelion, but you just don't need much because they've got those strong flavors.
Yeah.
But they're so good for you. They're so incredibly good for you. And it's going to stimulate that digestion as well. So because when we create that bitter, of course, we digest our food so much better as well. And you've got that amazing 1-in-1 extract, which I love, and it's on my shelves. So your one is on my shelves all the time.
It's a very common herb, and but yes, as we said, the leaf mainly famous for being a diuretic, and and the flowers. I mean, I've baked biscuits with my children, and you just put the flowers in as well, and it's a really great way to teach kids.
Yeah, they look beautiful. Maybe I have to find a dandelion flower recipe and add that to the website.
Yes, you can throw anything, and as you said, making a salad, you can just throw leaves in. But when you're using it in herbal medicine, you can mix our dandelion leaf into formulas for gout or
I mean, it's always one. It has an amazing synergistic effect, dandelion, and that when we talk about synergy with herbs, of course, we talk about the fact that it's not 1 + 1 = 2, but it's 1 + 1 = 5 or 6 because of the way they work together and the way they support each other. Because, of course, in nature, as you make yours are 1-in-1 herb. So they're as close to nature as we can get. And if you're eating something from the garden and you're mixing it, because you wouldn't eat tons and tons of a bitter dandelion leaf, you'd break up 1 or 2 and put it through the salad to enhance the flavors and the nutritional value. And as you're eating it in nature with all the other foods, you gain all that nutrient effect, and it helps with digestion. And in the herbal mix, we mix it with the other things for gout, and we make it, or whatever, your high blood pressure medication, because it's not contraindicated for many medications, but it is contraindicated for some. So don't just go out and get your dandelion if you happen to be a member of the general public. Your naturopath or herbalist will go and look it up before they give it to you and check contraindications. But it's an amazing herb, and it's been around for so very, very long. It's one of the, very much the original herbs because it's a weed.
Yes, the weed. And there's that old adage about the plants that grow around you are the ones that you need.
Yeah.
So dandelion, well, not in your state, but
no, we've got it in the hills. I have seen it, and when I see it, I always get a surprise, and I'm like, "Oh, look, dandelion!" It's like, wow. Whereas when I'm in New Zealand, there's dandelions everywhere. In England, dandelions everywhere. But because we're that much drier down here on the plain, it's just like you never see one. You'll never see one in the parklands or anything. So it's like, oh, maybe.
But other herbs that you need around.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, we have a lot of it here in Sydney, and I feel like because of that, it is a herb that everyone can take. It's gentle,
very gentle.
Lovely
herb. Okay, well, thank you very much, Christine. It's been lovely to talk to you about dandelion leaf, and I look forward to talking to you again very soon about our next herb in the series. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.